Hey, this is Willie Griswold with the Bob and Tom Show here with Costaki, Economopoulos, and Trey Wingo. Good morning, Trey.
Good morning. So it's the Bob and Tom Show, and neither of you are Bob and Tom.
No, we are not Bob and Tom.
I just want to make sure. I want to make sure I'm clear.
It's kind of like a Big Ten thing where the branding is more important than the amount of teams.
Who? Of course, absolutely. There's like 37 teams in the Big Ten, right? No?
That's sort of the sports way to talk about it. So, Trey, let's get to it. We're going to talk about prop bets today. Mm-hmm. Is there any prop bet that you think looks great for the bettors out there?
Well, listen, first of all, thank you for having me on and talking about the Caesars Sportsbook and the prop bets there. They put together over 2,000 props, which is really fun. There's a couple of them that I really, really like. One of them historically could pay off on Super Bowl Sunday. We haven't had a safety in the Super Bowl since Super Bowl 48. And for those that may remember, that was the first snap from scrimmage over the head of Peyton Manning at MetLife Stadium. Noshawn Moreno covered it up in the end zone. And the Broncos never recovered, losing 43-8. That's the longest stretch in Super Bowl history we've gone without a safety in the game. So it's plus 800. Mm-hmm. So it's a high, potentially low risk, high reward bet. I like that one. The other one that's always fun.
I love that.
Yeah. The other one that's always fun is it's called the fridge prop bet because it sort of started the whole prop bet craze. Caesars Palace in 1986 in Super Bowl 20. Bet on whether or not the fridge was going to score a touchdown. Mm. And, of course, he did in the third quarter. And to Mike Ditka's undying shame, Walter Payton did not.
Right.
He regretted it forever.
Right.
But that was the first one. And the prop is specific because it's not a defensive player scoring a touchdown. It's a defensive player scoring an offensive touchdown.
Sure.
It's only happened 3 times. It happened to Fridge. And then in Super Bowls 38 and 39, Mike Vrabel, the linebacker for the Patriots, lined up as a tight end and caught a touchdown pass in Super Bowl 38 against Carolina and Super Bowl 39 against the Eagles. So that's a really fun one. Again, low risk, potential, very high reward.
I could listen to you talk about this forever. Now, when the snap over Peyton's head wasn't there some gambler who had safety on the first play for some crazy number?
Yeah, and you can also bet on what the first score is going to be.
Right.
You know, you can bet whether it's going to be a field goal, whether it's going to be a touchdown, a safety, and there's all kind of odds on that. I mean, it's just the biggest bet is always going to be the spread. But there's so many fun ways to sort of get involved.
Yeah.
With like, the over-under on receiving yards for Jamar Chase or Cooper Kupp, or who's going to score the first touchdown.
Right.
Will the longest play of the game be a field goal or a pass play?
Right.
All those kind of things. And with these 2 kickers, that's actually a really interesting bet.
The one that I've done with my buddies over the years is scoring in the last 2 minutes of the halves.
Yep.
Then you have something to root for, even if it's a blowout.
Exactly.
I love betting on sacks. I like to bet the over so you can root for the defense.
Well, in this game, then you have the opportunity because the Bengals' offensive line is putrid. I mean, like, that's a fatal flaw. How this team got here with that offensive line is a mystery for the ages.
I'm happy to hear you say that because I think if this game's not close, that's why. Right?
Yeah, I agree because Joe Burrow, just so people know, was the most sacked quarterback in the NFL this year, 51 times.
Right.
There's never been a most sacked quarterback play on Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah.
They're such an outlier. And they're also giving up almost 6 yards per rush on the ground, which is another fatal flaw. But they're here. They're here.
So you think maybe the over on Aaron Donald's sacks?
I love that idea.
Right?
That's fun to root
I
for.
love that idea.
My friends have been giving me trouble because I'm combining my my big game bets with my Winter Olympics into like fun little parlays.
Yeah. Oh, are the Olympics going on? I haven't even noticed.
Yeah, that's right.
Like most of America, I'm not watching. Sorry, NBC.
But yeah, if you want it, Joe Mixon anytime touchdown, I'm parlaying that with South Korean women's hockey -2.
That is next level skill. If I had a cap, I would tip it to you, sir, right now. Very well done.
Now, I've been pitching this for about a decade. Can I pitch you an idea?
Hit me.
All right. I want an undercard game on Sunday. I want a 2 p.m. game.
Yeah.
You want third place, Chiefs, Niners, or would you prefer last place, winner gets the first pick in the draft?
Absolutely the latter.
Okay.
Because there is no chance that that other game will ever happen because those teams are so depressed right now.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but I love that idea. Like if you have, instead of like going to strength of schedule or you got the same record,
Right.
Play it out.
Right.
Play it out. Incentivize it.
Sometimes there's a Joe Burrow sitting there waiting to change your franchise.
Well, you're not kidding. Speaking of Joe Burrow, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
One of the great things about doing the draft was we got all this great research from people, and my friend Jim Carr, right over there, used to work with me at ESPN. Now he's working with me at Caesars, and he would put together all the information for us. And when people try to figure out why Joe Burrow is the way he is, this is from a research packet before he was drafted number 1 overall in 2020. Burrow played on an AAU basketball team when he was 9. During a state tournament game, they were down by 8 points with 30 seconds to go. The coach said, "We thought it was over," but then Burrow scored 9 consecutive points, including 7 straight foul shots. His coach said, "I'd never seen anything like it. It was then I knew he was different from everyone else. I couldn't believe the poise under pressure and competitive drive demonstrated by a 9-year-old. But wait, it gets better.
When he was 9?
Yeah. His coach was a sociology professor at Ohio University. After the game, I told Burrow's parents that Joe had the kind of qualities you find in cops and first responders, as well as serial offenders."
Oh, my goodness.
So in other words, Joe can disassociate himself from the moment, so he's either going to be the world's greatest athlete or Dexter.
Is that?
I mean, how great is that?
That's better than the 30 for 30 winning time about Reggie Miller getting 13 points in 8 seconds or whatever it is.
It's crazy.
That
He's
is-
a 9-year-old.
I had no idea they went that deep on the research.
That guy is a genius. Jimmy is a genius.
Well, can I ask you, I've always been curious, how many of those guys do you have that can say, sometimes you see those stats, this is the first time that on Monday Night Football it's been raining and there's been over 2 kicks, those kind of weird specific stats. Do you have people like that in your ear?
Yeah. Well, for the draft, I mean, the draft is an all-time-consuming thing. Like, once the Super Bowl ends every year, I start preparing for the draft. Like, it just is a non-stop entity.
It's a crazy miracle that you guys pull that off the way you do with so much poise.
Yeah.
It's great.
Well, yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed doing it. But it's not for the faint of heart, because you can't show up naked on day 3 and be like, "Oh, that guy, I don't know anything about him." You know? That's the last thing you want to be like. And that dude who played was drafted. You can't be that guy. You can't be that guy.
Do you have any broad advice, broadcasting wise? I'm a big fan of yours. You've got
thank
this. You got this great combination of real and in the moment and playful. What can you tell us?
Listen, to me, there's 2 things. You have to be able to relate to people, and you have to have information. Like, I'm not what you would consider to be a hot taker, or like, I think this because blah. No, when I believe something or think something, it's because it's based on research. Like, that's important to me.
Right.
Some other people just have opinions and whatever they throw, and that's fine. If it works for them, that's wonderful. I couldn't do that. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't feel comfortable doing that. Like, one of the reasons that I didn't want to do the radio show anymore was because I'm getting up at 3:45. I'm not watching the games that are on at 10:30 at night. Sure. I didn't like pretending. Like, I'll watch the football games. I'll watch the golf. I'll do that because those are the things that are interesting to me. But I didn't want to be out there like pretending, "Oh, that fourth quarter game between the Warriors and the Knicks was just crazy." See a second of it.
It's like when you're watching the Tonight Show and it's very clear that Jimmy Fallon didn't read the book of the person that he's talking to.
Yeah, exactly. Very similar. For me, I want to be as honest as I can and have the information, and that information should trump everything. Now, how you present the information is up to you, but the information is always the most important thing to me.
Well, you set a high bar with the 9-year-old Joe Burrow facts.
Jimmy Carr, baby. He's the best. The absolute best.
Can I tell you my favorite prop that I see on here? Evan McPherson, 1.5 field goals. I'm taking the over on that.
Absolutely. Great stat on him, courtesy of Jim Carr. He already has 3 postseason games with at least 4 field goals made.
Yes.
He's only played in 3 postseason games.
Wow.
There's only one other kicker in the history of the Super Bowl era who has 3 postseason games with 4 field goals made. And that's Adam Vinatieri, who's played in 32 of these things.
Oh,
Sure.
wow.
So that's a tribute to Evan and a diss to the offense of the Bengals for not getting touchdowns instead of field goals.
Wow.
Both of those things can be true at the same time.
Well, this is going to be a really fun game. I can't wait to look into these prop bets being offered through Caesar Sportsbook.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Trey, for talking to us today. I hope you have a great rest of your day here at Radio Row.
We appreciate it, and check out all the stuff we're doing on the Caesar Sportsbook YouTube channels, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and we got a bunch of stuff coming out over the next few days on their channels and all my social feeds as well, at Wingos and Trey.Wingo at Instagram.
Awesome. Thanks, Trey.
You got it, guys.
Thank you again.